Hello and welcome back to the channel. It's Mark from PowerSonic and Apprentice 1-to-1. You will see behind me here we have another GivEnergy all-in-one system and gateway to help take a customer off-grid should they wish. If you are a consumer and you're watching these videos and considering getting a proposal for battery storage or solar panels, please do get in touch. There'll be a link in the description over to our website where you can fill in a contact form, and it'd be great to help you out with a proposal similar to what Thomas has got here. Just a massive thanks to Thomas again. He's looked after us on this install. We were spoiled with croissants this morning and biscuits. Makes an absolute difference to us. I say this on all of our videos, but the customers making things, pleasant on site. Sometimes it happens in the world of domestic where you just don't click like that. But I've got to say, all of our solar customers so far have been absolute legends, and Thomas is another one of those. We're going to get straight to the action. I'm going to take you through it. We've got a conjure disc on this as well, so we'll show you some of the measurements we got off that. We'll have a look at the testing of that too. I'll go into it a bit on this video and link back to some prior earth testing that we've done in terms of RA. And then we'll show some of this going on the wall as well. We've got some unique bits and pieces that fit around this with the submain that comes down here. So if you're wanting to get your gateway and your equipment in a detached garage, we can absolutely help make that happen. We thrive on these slightly more challenging installs. Let's get straight to it and I'll show you what me and Nathan came up with. So you can see we're out the back of the garage here, and we've got a hole for the conjure disc, which is waiting there. So that's 600mm down, deep in our trench to take that across under the path. We've managed to drill a little route. I'm just going to dig this out, and you can see around here we've got our submain, which comes back into our cabinet that we pre-built back at the unit. So you can see here we've got the main meter in here. Can't open the door, but there's the main meter in there, and then it's going to come through into the back here and pop an ice gland on, tail straight through. We're basically going to bring our grid in to this switch fuse, as you can see up here, and then that's then going to connect into our submain, which is these blue and brown. We'll talk about all this in a little bit. There is a method to the madness, and that's going to run off down to the garage and live in a gateway. It's then going to be returned back into these Proteus super duper blocks, color coded, and then we're going to split off those back through and into the consumer unit. The reason we've used the trunking is to try and enclose all the singles, although technically speaking it is an electrical cabinet rather than something a consumer would be accessing. There is a fuse in here, there is a switch, and you just never know. So we're doing that just for belts and braces. We're now going to cleat up this cable on this side because there is going to be an extension here. This is all changing the customer's two-story extension, solar panels on top. So for now, we're just going to cleat this on the wall and then run it away through this trench. And again, this is all going to be block paved and changed. It's not going to stay like this. But for now, we want to get it as safe and compliant. So we're going to get on with that. We're just going to cleat this up, draw our cable in, pull some data cables across as well. And then in the garage, just around here, if I show you, we are going to have our gateway and all-in-one somewhere in this space. It's tucked back from the corner. It's a nice big double garage, and again, no vehicles parked in here. So it's a perfect spot for a battery system. Outside the dwelling, in a nice shelter, so it's not going to be exposed to the elements. It's not steel construction, and it's a suitable place for a battery to go. There's just the issue of impact into it from vehicles moving in and out, so we need to cover that aspect off if you have got vehicles using the space. So something to keep in your mind, but otherwise garages are the best place for these, bar none. It's as simple as that. Outside stores, garages, that's where you want them. Not exposed to the elements, not in a timber shed, although I have used that method and will continue to do so when other options are unavailable. Definitely not in a steel cabinet. This is ideal. But we're going to move along and we'll see how we get up to in just a minute. So we've got our hole, we're down 600mm, and we're just going to drop a bit of the conjugate into the bottom. So when you're fitting these discs, it's always best to put a little bit underneath, then put your disc in, make your termination, seal that, which we'll show you in a minute, and then put your conjugate and backfill with soil on top, tidy all your cable routes up. So we're just going to get on with that. Nathan's going to tip a bit in, then we'll mix it up in the hole and drop the disc on. So while Nathan's doing that, I'll show you the seal. Basically it's two separate bits. You have to mix it together and then you chuck it over your termination. It's actually quite hard to do one-handed, so I'll get it started. You have to squeeze this end to burst the middle, then mix it, and I'll show you what it comes out like in a minute. So you can see now it's mixed itself together a little bit. I've only just started it. It goes this blue colour. Just need to give it a right good mix up now. Nathan's just on with the termination on the conjure disc, and then we're going to pour this over it just to seal it a little bit. and then it protects it when we're under the ground to try and keep your connection point in good order. So we'll just get this ready and I'll show you that in a sec. So you can see we've got it on a little bed of conjecrete, and Nathan's now using that mix to cover over our earth connection, and we're just going to get it all in there, fill that right up just to try and cover that over and protect it a little bit from the worst of being underground. So after we've done that, we can put the rest of the conjecrete in and then backfill with soil, and we'll see what value that gives us when it's all gone off in the morning. So you can see we've got the conjecrete on top now. I'm just going to smooth that over, but it's in and covered the disc. Plenty of room for a bit of soil to go over the top of it. We've backfilled the cable in as well, so we've got our overlay tape, the cable in, some more overlay tape, a bit of soil on top, stamped down to this kind of depth, and then another bit of overlay tape, and we'll finish off the last little bit all the way along the trench, and then if anyone was to ever start digging there, they'll see what's what. We're also going to leave a cable drawer in, so we've got a route for everything if anybody's coming digging up that area, which we know they are for the block paving. You know, there's warning tape, there's a diagram, they'd struggle to hit it. But yeah, we've got all our cables through this one nice hole, drill bit there, so we're going to hoover all this and tidy out. In essence, we're going to bring our steel wire armour up into the gateway, which is going to live here, AC isolator all in one somewhere there. But we'll show you that when we're back tomorrow. We're just going to let that conjecrete go off now, and then we are ready to take a measurement tomorrow of this earth that we've got in here now. So we'll get the earth spikes out, I'll show you that and show you what value we got. Nothing to hide here. Nathan's just sorting out through this side, so he's just cleaning up the cable run, as you'll see here. So we've got our box on, and again, excuse the mess, we are going to tidy up. We've got our hole through to the meter cab as I showed you earlier, pop a little gland on that, everything ready to go. This end, nice neat job, and as I say, this is all going to get moved as the customer comes to do their stuff. We've got the metering company booked tomorrow to come and help us sort us out with that side of things, and hopefully this all comes together like an absolute dream. We shall see. We've pulled the cat cable across just in case. We're not anticipating we need it. There's already internet connections over here in the garage, and obviously the CT measurements are all done from the gateway, so there isn't really a requirement for it. But while we were on with what we were doing, we thought it didn't hurt to just drop on through. When we put solar on this, there is going to be N-phase microinverters on the house, and then they are going to be brought over to here as well to tie in with the gateway. So obviously we'll have to duct that up under the extension when that's done, because there's going to be panels up there, panels on the main house, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. There's a lot of building work to go on this one. So yeah, that is kind of where we are. I will catch up with you in the morning. We had a late start today. Well, we didn't. We left East Yorkshire at 7 o'clock this morning, but we didn't get to site till near enough 1 o'clock because it's a long old journey to this work location. So we're catching up this afternoon, but we haven't done too bad. It's 4:30 now, so 3.5 hours. We've trenched up, got the disc in, got the box mounted, got our cable in. Yeah, not a bad afternoon's work, I would say. And hopefully our delivery is on time tomorrow for the all-in-one. It was supposed to be here today, but things happen and we've had to change wholesaler because the one we were using totally messed it up. So yeah, not going to comment on that. I'm not going to name anybody, but it's very frustrating, and I'm sure lots of other people suffer from that. But we cannot have it where reliability like this, when we're working off patch. Yeah, I'll speak more about it tomorrow because I'm actually quite annoyed at the minute. I'll end up saying something that I regret. Let's jump back to site in the morning. Out with Bruno and Cooper, and I thought I would quickly interrupt today's video to speak about a few things. I've got my glasses on because I was just reading the update to the GivEnergy All-in-One commercial charger that is on the way, so that's exciting. But yeah, just want to speak a little bit about the battery storage side of things. If you're a consumer and you're looking at kind of the renewable setups, batteries at the minute make a lot of sense because of the ability to load shift and also a bit of robustness against grid outages, and also if you want to make some money when the grid's under a bit of strain, and selling that back for increased costs, either via saving sessions or other such things. Now the ethics of all of that, when you've got people on prepay meters and such, is a separate argument altogether. But just to put it out there that is a possibility for you with your battery storage system, and I play those games myself with my system at home. Obviously we have the PAS side of things now, and the intent where possible to get our battery storage systems in outdoor locations. Now obviously that's talking outdoors from the dwelling, and if we're putting these in a garage or a shed or whatever, there is other things we need to take into account, such as ventilation and also smoke detection to alert people if there is indeed a problem. So we need to have all of those things factored in, but you're going to struggle very much to find a better environment for one of these than something like an outbuilding, purely because they keep the worst of the elements at bay, keep the equipment out of direct sunlight. The problem we found by using special, we call it special, but we've used GRP enclosures and wooden sheds to house these. I'd never use a metallic container for a battery system in an outdoor environment. It just makes firefighting, in my opinion, a lot more difficult. You know, you've got the metallic parts, electricity, lithium, all of those things. Seems like a bad idea. I get the intent of trying to contain it, but we're outdoors anyway. So I would always be looking at GRP or timber. Neither conduct, and both are easily kind of worked around from a worst case scenario point of view. They're also great at weather sealing, and you can do insulation. They're not likely to get struck by lightning. All of those kind of things that people often miss when they're putting equipment outdoors. It's not going to corrode. So yeah, I wouldn't go down that road. But we've also got the problem of temperature control, direct sunlight on these things. We found it with the GRP enclosures actually over this summer, where we've got a couple in those, and they've actually had over temps on them. These inverters have a lot of smart tech built in. The BMSs on them are absolutely out of this scale, which is why they're very hard to set on fire in the first place. But due to that, if they detect an ambient temperature outside the operating range, quite rightly they will shut down. And we've seen that even with ventilation in these, so fans and heaters, as we install to try and cover off the worst of summer and winter. It's really hard in the UK to do that for every single day of the year. And certainly when it was really hot the other week, we had a problem with that in the green GRP boxes. So something to think about if you are doing that. The timber ones seem to be okay. I guess that's just the way they radiate heat, and these are all insulated. The can expand out as best you can. So yeah, it's one of those where when we're trying to fit this stuff in terms of safety, we can be affecting performance. So that's why, you know, indoor a brick structure or a timber structure, if you've got one, garden shed, garage, detached or integrated, make really good homes for these. You just have to make sure you tick off those other areas to enable you to get the best value from your system, and also, most importantly, keep safe. So I just wanted to come into the middle of this video with that, and to mention, if you're interested in discussions around all of this, we've got a new podcast called the Renewables Podcast. It's with myself and Sam Featherstone. We've got loads of awesome chats on there already, from some of the big hitters of industry from our recent trip to Installer Show, some one-off interviews with them as well. We've got My Energy, the IET, NAPIT, all on there. Much more to come. We've got an exciting sponsorship deal to announce soon on that show. It's not something I really like boasting about. There's other podcasts out there who'll big themselves up the second they get a sponsor, some sort of metric to show off and, like, I don't know, validate success maybe. It's just childish. We're using that to help grow our podcast, investing that money into camera equipment, some proper editing. We're not taking any money personally ourselves. It is just to put straight back in there to make it better for people watching and listening. That's the intention. But the sponsor is cool. It's nice that we've managed to get that. So yeah, we'll be mentioning it on the show, not all over social media, but there's a link in the description. Go and check it out. It is a good listen. I enjoy making them, learn more than I give. So yeah, let's get back to site, see if Nathan's managed to do this. He's the powerhouse behind this installation, and we'll continue out at the coalface of industry, doing the do, sharing hard and easy installs rather than preaching and causing division amongst others. Some people are experts in that. It's riddled through their social media. how good they are and taking every possible opportunity to take shots at someone else. I'm rarely right and often wrong, and it's all out there for people to judge and comment on. That's the difference, I guess. Back to site. So just been testing our electrode. This is what's going off to it, and you can see we've got 38.2 ohms. All the probes in. I'll take you out to look at where they go in a minute. With a conjure disc, that's pretty good, to be fair. I don't know what the earthing service calculation showed it be. I'll try and dig out the data they sent over, because they did predict a value of RAZE for this location, and I think they wanted us to install a couple of discs to try and drop this down to under 20, but I'm happy with that for the island mode side of things. It's going to cover us off perfectly fine. We'd want as low as possible. We know from the chats we've had before around the grid and DNO side of things how under 20 ohms, closer to 10 and under is preferable, but this fits us perfectly. We can't just go chucking copper in the ground to meet an ideological view such as the one I have. So we'll move on with the video. I'll show you where these spikes are. Okay, so the blue lead, as you'll have seen from the other electrode testing videos, there's some of those on my channel if you want to dig back and have a look at them, but that's the one we're putting furthest where we're limited on the size we've got to put these in the ground. I'm not going to show you the whole drive because you might be able to work out where we are, but it's a big block paved area. This is the other kind of soily bit near where the conjure disc is itself. So this red probe at the minute is very, very close to it. I've been moving that around backwards and forwards. The measured value was taken from kind of the edge of this bed, somewhere over here, and then I've just moved it back towards, moved it a little bit further away within what we've got, basically, to retain the best value we can. Obviously we can do a live test as well, which I will do, and I'll report back what that figure is once we've got some power down into the gateway, just to kind of cross-reference what the actual live measurement is, if you like, using the electrode. But yeah, the red goes nearest to your electrode. You really want it, I think it's 3 times the length of the rod if you're using one. I don't know how that plays out with a disc. Obviously that's way too close, and actually the closer you get, the higher the reading it measures. It's weird how it works. It uses set figures that it's expecting to measure between the disc and then between that and that. So if you don't follow those rules, it doesn't map out correctly. We've just been doing some experiments for another video I'm working on, which will be out in maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Also ties in with my own garden and the system we've got there. But I just thought I'd show you that one here and the value that we've got. So meter cabinet all done with our tails in. We've got our tails going off back to the consumer unit, and from the grid they come through the back here. We're going to seal this, pop a bit of grommet strip around just to neaten that up. Nathan's just on with that now. We've got our grid feed that comes into this switch fuse. It's got an 80 amp fuse in it, and that is then taking our power down to the garage, and we've also got it then return into these Henleys and back to the load. We're obviously going to label these up and such, so we're on with that in just a sec. We've got the EV charger on. Let's keep it down to the ground so you can't see where we are. That's just waiting to commission with the customer. They wanted it here out of sight, so this is as per where they wanted everything. Nathan's just going to seal these holes up with a bit of silicone for us. So we won't go too much into the gateway and all-in-one on this one. We've shown these absolutely loads, but I will talk about the cabling. We've actually got clip direct cables in here already. There's other bits of work going on as well. We've brought our steel wire armor in through the bottom, drill through on an angle, so it's sloping to outside, but it also allows you to get a nice curve up the wall and a nice curve on this side. Obviously this is quite thick, well, it's shoelace size to some people, but thick at a domestic level. So we wanted that to be on a nice smooth angle. Nathan's going to fill that in just a sec for us. We've got our washers on all the cleats, and we've just tied the cables up together so they run up nice and neat. We've got our sub main coming down, we've got the earth conjure disc, we've then got the data link between the products, we've got our data coming over for the products, and then we've got the EV cable running out from the gateway, and we've also got the all-in-one cable running out up the back there and down. So I think that looks quite neat and tidy. It's all online and commissioned. We used the beta app. It did hang for a little bit, but I guess that's why it's beta. These things will happen, but we got there in the end. It's all commissioned and online. We just need to get the customer to come and commission the charger, and then we're good to go. We're just gonna have a good tidy up. Again, I'm trying not to show where we are, so I'm keeping the footage close up to the equipment. But yeah, another GivEnergy all-in-one system, and these are the absolute business. If you were a consumer looking to get some battery storage and combine it with solar, we're going to be putting solar on this job not too distant future. So we thought makes sense to go for AC coupled alongside the customer. This was them who selected this particular piece of equipment after watching some of our other content. And yeah, you've got 13.5 kilowatt hours of battery storage with a 6 kilowatt inverter built into it. The gateway will sustain the house loads in the event of a power outage. It's got island mode protection built in. Obviously got our conjure disc on there for a reference to earth in those circumstances. You can charge it overnight, you can discharge it during the day, which is what this customer's going to be doing for the short period before they get their solar panels. And then obviously that ties in with the EV charger as well. So as I've shown on the videos before, in the app you can stop it from discharging the battery into the car, unless you want it to, of course. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. We've tried to go into as much detail as we can with the earth testing. Obviously, we've shown these bits and pieces getting installed loads before. If you want to see them going in, check out the earlier videos. They are absolute powerhouses, this GivEnergy all-in-one, and the whole range of GivEnergy products. Actually, they've got a litany of stuff that is absolutely brilliant and available to help us at all price points. We're going to go into that on a future video about a real budget install using equipment that's reliable and robust, but maybe doesn't have some of the bells and whistles for those of consumers who can't afford the premium price tag products. You know, we all want to help people get off grid if they can, as much as they can, with solar generation and battery storage, but there is a big problem with accessibility of that when you look nationally around some of the cost of living things that are going on for people. So we've got to be realistic with that, and we want to try and make an effort as installers to include as many as possible, because the benefits are huge, the paybacks are quite fast, and yeah, it's just going to be a nice thing to try and do. So while these are brilliant and we love doing the videos on the premium gear, we also think we can come up with a slightly lower cost option that is going to be reliable and safe, but maybe not as integrated with some of the smart tariffs and stuff. But more on that in a future video. If you've got any questions around this, please do drop them in below. If you want to hear more about some of the earth electrode testing, there's earlier videos on my channel where I've gone into that in more detail, and we're going to do some more of that as well at my own home. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so, and otherwise we'll see you on the next one.